Gandia Half Marathon. I love this race.
This weekend it's the Gandia Half Marathon, the one that I've been waiting for all year. And now that it's finally arrived, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. Honestly, I've no idea where the time's gone by since my live run back in October, the final Circuit Vall del Bida event in La Pobla del Duc. That was my last chance to claw back a position from a runner who was on the same number of points as me, but thanks to a deeply unfair scoring quirk was one place above. Super unfair, I call it. Still, somehow it worked out. I've ended the season 196th overall out of 616 runners and 14th in my age category, which for a hamster with short legs, I'll take. Next week's the Circuit Gala night where the prizes are handed out. I'm not expecting to bother the announcer, but I'll be there anyway. Maybe they'll give out some branded flip-flops for dedication. I did complete 20 of the 22 races after all. Last week was complicated. I accidentally entered the virtual New York Marathon twice. Don't ask. Actually, one was an unofficial challenge, the other an official one. Salva and Jose Ramon suggested I run it once and submit the same time to both. Practical, but, well, not very sporting. So, naturally, I ran it twice, Thursday and Sunday. Chaos? Absolutely. Which kind of brings me back to tomorrow's Gandia Half Marathon. I loved the event last year, the organisation, the crowd, the music, but running 2 marathons last week might not have been the best warm-up. My legs certainly think so. Still, as a spectator sign said, about 4 miles before the finish at last year's Valencia Marathon, "Smile, you paid to take part." So, what could possibly go wrong? Probably everything. Knowing how chaotic parking can be in Playa Gandia on race day, 3,000 runners all trying to squeeze into about 50 parking spots, I left home ridiculously early and somehow bagged a place at 7:30 a.m. Feeling smug, I wandered off towards what I thought was the race start, except there was nothing there, just roadworks and, I suppose, tumbleweed. I vaguely remembered Jose Ramon saying something to me that when he'd done the race before, the start had been in the main town near the sports centre. And with no signs of life and the clock ticking, I have to say I started to panic. Had I completely misread the instructions? It wouldn't be the first time. Just as I was about to turn back and head into the main town, I spotted some tents materializing themselves out of the gloom, the bib pickups. Crisis averted, I collected my bib and t-shirt, secured a table before the place filled up with other caffeine desperate runners, and grabbed a much needed coffee from the only cafe open at that time. As the race start approached, I reluctantly left the warmth and toilets of the cafe and joined the runners area, where I bumped into Javier, Carlos and the lovely Hayat. Bags dropped, fireworks ready, and the race caller doing the usual thanks, volunteers, organisers, town council, and of course us. Then, boom, we were off along the seafront. About a kilometre in, I spotted Javier and Carlos and decided to glide past. I was feeling super strong. In hindsight, not my brightest tactical move. We zigzagged through Playa Gandia, hit the main roundabout on the outskirts, and the 10k runners peeled off, including Hayat, though I never caught sight of her again, sadly. Then came some of the music zones, a full-on street band, and one runner next to me started dancing while running. Top marks for enthusiasm. I found out later, when we chatted, he'd studied in Gandia and came back just for the race. Love that. Once we hit the main town, things started to get serious. My old injury from last year decided to reintroduce itself, and a new twinge joined the party in my inner thigh. Not ideal. I spotted some familiar faces from the Circuit Vall del Bida, made the mistake of overtaking them, and paid for it later. We passed our old apartment, dipped into the old town, and emerged onto the main shopping street. About 5 kilometres to go, right past my favourite Indian restaurant, Mount Himalaya. The cheers were amazing, but my pace wasn't. Those same runners I'd cheekily overtaken earlier, they came gliding past me. I heard my name called out. I thought it was Javier coming in, but no, it was Carlos storming past me on the home stretch while I was busy trying not to fall apart. One final corner, the finish line finally appeared. Across the line, Garmin stopped, a rare miracle, medal collected from an absolutely beaming volunteer. The goodie bag was classic Gandia. Oranges, drinks, bananas, biscuits, the essentials for post-race survival. Oh yes, and on-tap beer.
Yay! Down the hatch.
I found Carlos, congratulated him, and later managed to catch up with Javier and his friends. A tough day in the office, but what a race. If you've actually enjoyed watching me limp, laugh, and occasionally triumph through these runs, please consider subscribing. It's totally free, supports the channel, and hopefully you won't miss any future episodes. By the way, I've recently started a new podcast that brings together remarkable runners with my personal take on recent developments in the world of long-distance running. Check it out and let me know what you think. I'll see you at the next Hamster Running event.
Was it as hard as I thought it might be? Yeah, but hey, I finished it in a respectable time, so roll on the next race.